Welcome back. So, it's been a long time since we've been in the garage, but hey, we're midsummer. And I've not done much Jeep stuff. Talk about that because I've got a wee job to do. Briefly though, picked this up, brought it home the other day actually from work. Turned up in an old container getting cleaned out. Another box. Second one of these I've actually got. And it's quite good condition. It's had a padlock put on it. Anyway, as I keep telling you, is when you buy a Jeep, the amount of stuff you get is unbelievable. And talking of which, I just got all this for Farmer Chris the other day. They're a wartime issue. But anyway, I'll do a video on all these. And that axe handle, interesting. Anyway, first of all, if I want to take my Jeep out, we need to do this. See that little bit of play in the bearing? Probably from, I remember I changed the knuckle joint. And it's probably been the taper rollers. Bearings I've just seated now, giving a little bit of play. So we'll do that. So we need to break the wheel nuts, and then we'll jack it up, drop the wheel off. Then we need to loosen these, draw the axle out, and then we've got two nuts with a lock washer. And I think probably rotating them just one turn should be enough to sort that. So without further ado, I'll just sit yous here. Hopefully you can see okay. So I'm using the DJI Action 5 in the shed for the first time today. Just because it's a Monday morning, there's a lot of traffic with the school going in and all that. So, quick lesson. What do you know about wheel nuts? Well, it's lefty-loosey, as you know, just like your car is, and righty-tighty. There you go. Right, so, did you know a Willys Jeep, the wheel nuts are left-hand thread on the left-hand side. So it's actually righty-loosey. I'll give you a quick demo. That's them broke now. That's them. Right, come and have a look at this. So, theory apparently, so there's left-hand thread, righty-loosey. There you go, look. Theory is, it comes from the old wagons in the US. And, you can correct me if I'm wrong, apparently Chrysler were the last cars to use that right up until the mid to late 70s. There you go, some more useless information. Anyway, we'll get this jacked up and get this wheel off. Okay. So it's been a very disappointing 80th VE Day celebrations around here anyway, because there's been none. I've been a bit disappointed. There's been nothing to take my Jeep to. But you know, it's not really what I bought my Jeep for, as you know. I bought it for myself. There we go. Let's get a mat. the old knees, remember? And it's been a bit of a up and downy month. As you know, my mum passed away at the beginning of May, and then we had to wait 3 weeks for the booking for the crematorium. So we had our service on Thursday, said our goodbyes, and I'm sure she'd be happy with what she got. And all our friends were there. The ones that are also still here. But she did say, get out and enjoy your life. And you know, there's too many videos this now on YouTube of folk moaning. I don't come on YouTube for that. I come on to get away from my day's work or to enjoy my hobbies and passions. That's what I want to watch. I'll probably upset folks saying that, but I don't really care. So yeah, so I've not really been filming with the Jeep this month. I've just been... Now this is the problem. Shade off. I have to put the wheel back on just to sit on the ground until I break the nuts. I should have done that as well. Schoolboy error. That'll do. It's just to break these nuts. See, these are in the Loctite, that's why they're tight. I'll tell you a funny story. I can't believe the amount of views those films driving up to Glencoe, etc. had. I'll let you in on a secret. I did that ride twice. So what happened was, I set off the next morning, early, as you know, and got up onto Rannochmoor, as you see in the film, and the microphone switched off. I hadn't charged the mini mic up, and because I'd only decided the night before to go up, it was just grab everything and go. And I hadn't recharged the mic after the previous weekend's filming. And they have about 6 to 8 hours, I think. I think it might be a wee bit. I think it's only about 6 hours with that mini mic, as I've now discovered. So I had no proper... So I did a film of Glencoe, but you could only hear me when I stopped. And the rest of the time it was just all mumbling. However, the forecast was for the same exact weather conditions the following Thursday. No wind, clear skies. I was working the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because they had a golf competition at work for the members, whatever. So I went for it. So I did the whole thing in a day. I'm going to do a little film about that. And it was a kind of a test, just to put my theory to test about those 350s. And basically they are capable of a 400-mile day. And it'll just be a quick blether when we pull up somewhere out on the bike. And it'll be quite interesting, some of the findings I discovered. And talking to train interruption, talking to friends afterwards, they actually have all said, I actually came home, and after battling a wee bit of a headwind all the way down the motorway, going up and down 4th and 5th gear, trying to keep like 65 on the M9 motorway, I kind of thought, maybe I do need a bigger bike, maybe I need a bigger bike. And I kind of persuaded myself, just buy a hip. I only need something that'll do 80 instead of 70, just so I can get past the lorries and all this, you know, and slow cars. And by the following end of last week, back at work, when you sit in a tractor all day, you have the time to consider things. I actually decided, you know what? Just to go up north a dozen times a year, I actually can't. I cannot justify spending a minimum of £2.5 to £3 grand on like a Himalayan or a Scram. I'm paying the extra insurance, MOT, tax. Just for going up north. And then chatting with pal Chris, who's a big GS guy and has been all over on his GS. He actually pointed out, doesn't matter if you're on a C90 or a BMW GS. So I can feel that hub rock and hear it, which means I can test this without the wheel on. You're going to find without I think the tab's on this one, not the inside one, so I'll need to get some room here. I've got the Jeep parked right in the centre. Easily I move it there. So you won't see this because you're over there. Hold on, folks. There is your folding tab washer. So I just tap that out, which is why I use this. I find this is best. And then we're I don't know why I've not got a screen on my picture on my screen today. I've just got the timer going. Anyway, I like using the GoPro in the garage, but you don't get the microphone. There's a couple of you moan like hell. Like, when folk moan at me, I just feel like I don't think there'll be any holes barred now on my channel. Now Mum's not here to give me a hard time about swearing. If I don't like somebody, I'll probably be quite prompt and tell them to piss off if they're not happy. Sorry. Life's just too short for pissing around. Okay, so you'll see videos where people take these off with chisels and absolutely muller them. 12 quid buys you. You can get ones that take sockets, so that's the cheaper option. Buys you that, whatever that is, 40 something mil, 50 something. It's a big old size anyway. There you go, there's your tab washer. There's a notch for it and there's a notch in there. So all we want to do is tighten this inside nut. I'm going to bring these in actually, hold on. You probably still can't see anyway. So if we're there on a flat, if we can turn this, so that's it going tight. This brake's actually, you can see how tight it is. There's no play in the bearing now. So back to this. We line this tab washer in. Now, I think that's been in the wrong way. I think the tab going the inside or the outside, this is what I'm not sure. Can't remember. It came out that way, so I'll put it back that way. For some reason I thought I was going to have to pull the axle. You pull the axle when you take these nuts off to get into the drum. The brakes drag a bit on this because that one might need loosened. But they don't get that hot. The drums are oval. But I'm never driving it where I'm doing consistent hard braking to be concerned. Okay, so if I give this a nip tight, now we just need to find a flat area, bend the tab over. I'll take this one here. go like that, see? That's why I find this wee Jemmy bar does it best. There you go, see how it's bent over now? That is basically it. So, that paper gasket's alright condition. It's a wee bit ripped actually. It will be okay though. It's just a case of getting these lined up. Which that isn't. Quite impressively, I'm doing this without my reading glasses today as well. So, one thing that put a big smile on my face was we had a slideshow of Mum at our funeral. And what pops up in the funeral is her sitting in Daniel's Mustang and then sitting in the Jeep. That's cool, like. And it was mentioned in the funeral, so I'd actually thought, do I want to keep this thing? I was starting to think, I've even got a decent van on the road now of my own, and I've got like a vehicle that's worth 15, 20 grand that I just use for a toy. And after I came home, and as you expect, you process your day, I thought I got to keep this just for Mum. She used to love seeing this turning up. It's got a lot of oil and grease on it underneath. It needs a proper steam clean. It doesn't really need more lano guard. There's a couple of patches, like there's the nuts and bolts that I've put in since. See, like there, a little bit of rust. Surface rust though, no, it is nothing. The main thing is the chassis is totally rust free on this. Try that with a vintage Land Rover. Good luck there. So what we'll do is we'll put the wheel back on, tighten it up, then we'll tighten these nuts. So, schoolboy error, if you're taking up some play in your bearing, remember, do that first. Because as you see, it will rotate your drum. That's a tight spot there on the drum. It's a real shame that the chap that bought this off had rebuilt it all, put a whole new brake system in, but he never got the drums skimmed. This is terrible for, just going to straighten that, for coming loose. I'm sure you can, with the tabs, just bend it a bit. Here's how much I use this. It's went flat on the top. See that in 2 angles? This was the sort of things I used to buy. I think this is a Draper one. This was bought in Pilrig Motors in Leith. Remember the good old days? We used to go into shops and buy tools. There you go. Okay, so people make a lot of fuss online about a lot of stuff on Jeeps. And you know, these are basically agricultural vehicles. These were designed for normal men to drive and maintain using a manual. If you can read a manual. You can repair a Willys Jeep. It's all ready to go for the summer. I'll probably, about a year since I last greased all the pivot points for the suspension and steering and the prop shafts. I'll probably run over them. And then have a look in the where your distributor is. There might be oil ways to oil the distributor. That comes out the engine, the shaft, because I've never oiled them. But for the record, I think I've done 5,000 miles of this Jeep now, which is not bad considering. And that's all just been spinning around East Lothian. So, future plans, it's just going to be out and about around the doors. I've got no holidays planned now. Now that we're into June, we shouldn't be taking holidays partly at work now, unless it's emergencies for things, but obviously work's getting ready for the big event of the year for them, which is the Scottish Open. And I'll get the phone out and do some shorts, because last year a lot of folk found that quite interesting. I don't think anyone would find anyone going into an office and working interesting. But yeah, folks seem to enjoy that. I quite like how nothing has torques with a Jeep. It's just like tight or F-tight, effing tight. So it was quite funny. I'd kind of got a bit thingy at my channel. I thought, oh, everybody's went down and what they've earned, and I kind of gave up worrying about all that. And you know what? Just stop worrying about that. I'm actually really enjoying it again, like I did back in the day. I'd like to do more cycling films. You shouldn't use a ratchet, by the way, to tighten bolts, just telling you. It should just be a flat torque bar. But you run around all these and check them, and you check your wheel nuts every couple of months. Especially anything that you've had off, you should recheck, in case it seats a bit. So temperatures are up, and I think I'll take my Jeep a drive today, and then take the motorbike out this evening. I'm not mowing this week. G left this morning early. She's obviously off this week, so she works for 10.5 weeks. She's away to 5 aircraft wrecks, starting with a Fairy Firefly. So she's up near Bankery. Her with the dogs. I've no Murphy dog either, so rather sitting about in the house on my own. Here you go, look. No play. Excellent. I've not had my hands dirty for a while. Yeah. Just to keep things interesting, we'll do a wee start up as well. This hasn't been fired up for well over 3 weeks. I went out on Remembrance Day myself. I don't know if you remember, I said that in a motorbike film. Felt like it was a bit sad. I've still got that spare battery on it, as you know, which I'm going to just leave on now. And then come the winter, I'm going to make a light bar that I'm going to put my DIY spotlights on. So I've got these two, plus somewhere I've got the original as they come, painted green. There's 4, and what I'm going to do is make a bar that goes on with wing nuts and then goes out the cigarette lighter, and it's just going to run off this. And I'm not going to touch my original wiring at all, and that'll just be running a total loss system. But I can't see me being that far out at nights now. Basically because General Chris has moved jobs, so he's not up at the farm that he was a tenant farmer in now. So he's closer to hand as well. So what I'm doing there, that's the fuel bowl filler. You can hear it's pumping up to the carb. That's that filled. Yeah, because I've got these here, I'm going to put 2 wing nuts on these. These were longer and I cut them down because they were digging into the bonnet. I'm going to put a light bar on there for the winter with 4 spotlights. Just a quick release thing. And that'll give me more lights. So, we'll open this up for the old carbon. Let's see how she starts up. Always check your outie gear. We need an ignition key as well. So obviously wartime Jeeps have just an on-off switch, but the reproduction ones are crap. This has always had an ignition in it and I've just left it. So you should pump up the gas a bit with these. There you go. Pump the gas up. Try it first with no choke. It'll fire and then stop as it just takes that fuel out the initial bit of the bowl of the carb. See that? They always do that. There you go. If you touch that throttle, it'll cut out though. Just let the carb get the pull the fuel up. There's your oil pressure up at 80. It's got a full tank of fuel. It's been sitting with a full tank. Obviously your alternator's working, and if it doesn't work, that'll go up and down. So put the choke in about half. That oil pressure light will go out when I rev it, watch. There you go, folks. She's rolling. Brilliant. Right, so I'm going to make another film today in the garage about all that stuff. I'm letting the schools go in and the road's clear. I'm going to take my Jeep for a drive this morning. I'm going to go to North Berwick and back, but I'm going to try the mic out again, okay? So, I think we need to make some shelf space. There's quite a lot of new stuff that arrived in here. And I've still to tell you about all the torches. But as you know, I don't really buy stuff now. I just pick up stuff. I've not bought an ammo box or a petrol can yet. So, see you again soon. As always, I'm okay and I hope you are too. Thanks everyone, bye for now.